and treating all kinds of diseases, which Western medicine deemed uncurable. From Royal Rife, the man who created a frequency machine that disintegrates bacteria and cancer cells, to Wilhelm Reich, the man who discovered orgone energy and created an orgone accumulator device that cured hundreds of people from all sorts of diseases. Both of these great men paid harshly for their discoveries, which threatened the established medical industry and their trillions of dollars of yearly profit from cancer treatments. Royal Rife's discoveries and frequency healing machine were destroyed entirely while he was sued, and although he won his lawsuit, he was left entirely bankrupt. Wilhelm Reich was also sued and even thrown in prison, where he died mysteriously. His orgone accumulator device, together with all of his research on orgone energy, was also destroyed. Unfortunately, the man to whom this video is dedicated suffered a very similar fate. Dr. Sebi, a holistic healer and herbalist who discovered a natural cure for AIDS, cancer, and all sorts of diseases, was also ridiculed, sued, and eventually thrown in prison, where he was allegedly poisoned. He healed hundreds of people, including many celebrities like Michael Jackson, Steven Seagal, Eddie Murphy, John Travolta, and others. Two of these celebrities, famed rapper Nipsey Hussle and singer Lisa Lopez, were so grateful for the guidance and healing they accomplished thanks to Dr. Sebi that they wanted to express their gratitude by spreading awareness of his healing methods and cures. Nipsey Hussle announced that he would fund and create an entire documentary dedicated to Dr. Sebi. However, before the documentary was finished, Nipsey Hussle was found dead, shot multiple times. Lisa Lopez was working on a documentary about her life and her spiritual journey, in which Dr. Sebi played a huge part. Unfortunately, right after meeting with him, she also mysteriously died in a car accident. But who was this mysterious man known as Dr. Sebi? And what was so special about his healing methods and practices that cured so many people? Before we continue, we'd like to thank ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. ExpressVPN is the #1 VPN provider on the market, providing the best security and top-notch internet speed. Oftentimes, when we do the research for our videos, we browse into many websites containing declassified documents and sensitive information. But we always use ExpressVPN to stay more anonymous. We know that using incognito mode or clearing your internet history can't prevent others from prying into your online activity, as your internet service provider can always see what you're doing and what you're researching. No matter who your internet service provider is, they're all legally allowed to sell your data to ad companies for excessive prices. Thanks to ExpressVPN, you can block your internet provider from seeing what you're doing. By encrypting your data and rerouting your internet connection through a secure server, don't allow your personal information to be stolen, and learn how to get 3 months free of the best VPN provider on the market. Visit expressvpn.com/universe inside you. Alfredo Darrington Bowman, better known as Dr. Sebi, was born in 1933 in a small village in Honduras. In his early years, Alfredo became a machinist on a cargo ship and traveled around the world. He was not living a healthy life and was constantly overeating, and soon became overweight. By the time he was 35 years old, he had severe health problems and suffered from several conditions, including asthma, diabetes, impotency, visual impairment, and obesity. He went to the United States to seek the help of contemporary Western medicine, but quickly discovered that conventional medical treatment wasn't helping him at all. So once his conditions got even worse, he decided to look for alternatives. During his travels, he heard about a man who practiced many ancient healing methods based on herbs and natural medicine. So he traveled to Mexico to meet this herbalist by the name of Alfredo Cortez. The Mexican healer told him that he was dying, but he also knew how to help him. First, he instructed him to practice a 90-day fast. not eating anything and only drinking water. During this period, the herbalist gave him different combinations of natural herbs and occasional juice. Then he instructed him to start a vegetarian diet, forbidding him from consuming any meat or milk. At the end of the process, the Mexican herbalist cured all of Alfredo Bowman's medical conditions, healing him completely. This incredible transformation inspired Alfredo so much that it eventually led him to the path of becoming Dr. Sebi and expanding his knowledge of natural herbal medicine, fasting, and vegan alkaline dieting.
As we look carefully at our Bible, it says that the herbs is for the healing of the nations. The herbs are for the healing of the nations. In Genesis, in Ezekiel, and Revelation, that you would not make any mistakes in the first, middle, and last.
In the following years, Dr. Sebi started cataloging all kinds of different herbs, plants, and mushrooms. Then he experimented with his own body, consuming different combinations of the remedies while also practicing various fasting methods. He was entirely self-taught and examined various traditional healing methods from Africa, Central America, and the Caribbean. This formerly obese, impotent man, suffering from asthma, diabetes, and visual impairment, would reach optimal health, and by the end of his life, he would have around 20 children. The culmination of his experiments, fasting, and herb cataloging eventually led him to develop his own healing alkaline diet called the African Bioelectric Cell Food Therapy. Dr. Sebi believed that illnesses arise from the formation of mucus within the different cells in our body. This mucus restrains the oxygen from reaching the cells, causing them to deteriorate. Excess mucus buildup in the lungs, for example, causes pneumonia, while excess mucus in the pancreas causes diabetes. Dr. Sebi believed that disease could only survive in acidic environments. Thus, he used his plant-based alkaline diet, together with various herbs, to achieve an alkaline state in the body in order to eradicate diseases. The diet consisted of only natural alkaline fruits, grains, vegetables, nuts, and legumes. The herbal mixtures he created contained traditional healing herbs such as turmeric, burdock root, linden flower, dandelion root, and many others. He even used different kinds of sea moss, which is proven to be great for boosting the immune system and providing one with energy. The goal of Dr. Sebi's alkaline diet, fasting protocol, and herbal remedies were to cleanse the body cells on the cellular and intracellular levels, while also detoxing the organism and recharging the immune system. The benefits of the different herbs used by Dr. Sebi have long been supported by science, together with the benefits of following a vegan diet and intermittent fasting. In fact, we've made a 37-minute video on fasting and all of the physical, mental, and spiritual benefits. We'll leave a link in the comments below or the top right corner. Another critical component of Dr. Sebi's regime was drinking plenty of spring water. This is essential to making the alkaline diet work, as the human body consists of 70% water. Since many of the used herbs are diuretics and increase urination to detox the body, proper hydration with spring water is vital. After successfully healing and helping hundreds of people in Honduras, Dr. Sebi went to the U.S., where he started his company selling herbal remedies and treating people individually. He cured many Americans as well, and quickly amassed fame in the States.
A man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be the judge. The lump in Myrtle Rick's left breast is gone.
I haven't had any symptoms or problems, anything.
Sabrina Peterson's son no longer disabled by sickle cell anemia.
He has a lot of energy. I have to make him rest.
Diseases cured by this man. His name is Dr. Sebi, but you won't find a medical degree hanging from his wall. Instead, a certificate of healing.
We have complex things with science, but if we go back to God and use the herbs as God said, then you can see how simple it is. Then
Dr. Sebi believes what ails you can be cured with natural alkaline herbs and a vegetarian diet solely made up of what he calls electric foods, mushrooms, greens, and rye breads without starch.
Hippocrates established the principle of medical science by using herbs to cure diseases, then why the physician using the chemicals?
40 years ago, a doctor in Mexico cured Sebi of diabetes, asthma, and obesity with the very same herbs and diet he dispenses to all of his patients, whether they're suffering from lack of energy or full-blown AIDS.
That package is an intracellular chelation. I'm removing plaque from the system. I'm removing inflammation. That is the base for all disease.
And according to a medical affidavit provided by Dr. Sebi, it's working. It shows a patient diagnosed with HIV in November of 1993 was cured 2 months later. Thousands of patients worldwide swear by his methods and natural herbal medicines.
With all the money he made from his work, he created the Usha Healing Village in Honduras, naming it after his oldest daughter, Usha Bowman. The Usha Village quickly became a world-renowned place for natural healing, and many people from all over the world traveled thousands of miles to receive treatment there. The village was situated in a spectacular location in nature, with natural medicinal hot springs, providing steam baths and bathing in thermal waters as part of the treatments.
I was diagnosed first with colon cancer, then it had metastasized and become leukemia. And 3 months after that, I had been diagnosed with an astrocytoma brain tumor that was inoperable. At that point, the doctors in the U.S. gave me 6 months to live. 120 days after getting here, I no longer had leukemia. The headache stopped within 30 to 60 days. I lost a total of 102 pounds.
I was having like brain fog and fatigue, a lot of fatigue. Like my memory wasn't really good, and acne like breaking out on my face and different like eczema and stuff like that. And then I took the cell cleansers, and 2 days later I woke up and my mind was so clear, and I could even tell a difference in my skin, the way my skin looked. It was amazing.
My sister was diagnosed with lupus. My sister wasn't going to make it to the end of the year, and we was in September. Sent her a package of one of his my interbody chelation
remedies.
And 3 months later, my sister's driving her kids to school.
From one package?
He sent her a package once a month.
I was really going through it. No oxygen, chronic severe respiratory diseases. I was living on 13 breathing treatments a day. I started cleansings. I had mucus coming out from everywhere. That first week I was spitting up mucus like a lot. Immediately I got off medication. Like as soon as I started, I got off medication. I removed the diseases successfully, completely. I haven't taken not even Advil. I haven't taken no type of medication whatsoever.
Eventually, Dr. Sebi's fame became too big in the United States, and in 1988, the FDA filed a lawsuit against him for practicing without a license and false advertisement. While it was no secret that Dr. Sebi didn't have any license or medical degree, was he really false advertising? In the ads he ran, he claimed that he could cure cancer, leukemia, lupus, herpes, AIDS, and many other diseases, some of which were deemed incurable. Dr. Sebi took on the Attorney General of New York in the Supreme Court, and the judge asked Sebi to provide one witness for each of the diseases he claimed to have cured. In addition, each witness had to bring a certified document from an independent doctor that proves that he or she had the specific disease, together with another document from a different doctor proving that the witness is now cured of this disease. The judge, the attorney general, and all of the people following the case were shocked when 77 witnesses joined Dr. Sebi in court in person, bringing the required documents proving that he did, in fact, cure all of them. Although Dr. Sebi was questioned for hours and different laboratories tested his herbal remedies, he was eventually found not guilty. The trial backfired and made him even more popular. He even started working with many celebrities like Michael Jackson, Steven Seagal, Eddie Murphy, John Travolta, Magic Johnson, and many others. Dr. Sebi helped Michael Jackson overcome an addiction to morphine and painkillers with his African bioelectric cell food therapy. He also cured a 5-year chronic headache of Steven Seagal's using herbs. More lawsuits would follow, but the popularity of Dr. Sebi was nonetheless growing. The FDA could not stop him as more and more people backed his claims and stated he cured them. Lisa Left Eye Lopez, the lead singer of TLC, was one of the many grateful patients of Dr. Sebi. He helped her overcome alcoholism, excessive smoking, and depression. As a result, Lisa's life was utterly transformed, and she often said that Dr. Sebi opened her eyes.
This man has shared a lot with me. We looked at him as if he was a gift, you know, to come here to this place and to have someone like him around who could help us find us. And he has a very simple philosophy. Guess what? You're not just a physical being, okay? You are an entity with an energy source, you know, that is responsible for, you know, your physical well-being. I mean, I don't care what anybody says about it. You know, he really opened my eyes.
Lisa wanted to repay him by spreading information about him and his healing methods, while also sharing her own transformation. So she shared her experience at the Usha village with MTV.
In the tiny village, Lisa sought guidance for body and soul from an herbal guru named Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi, you know, according to him, can cure anything. Everything from trying to lose weight to, you know, looking for a cure for AIDS. People go there with hopes and dreams that Dr. Sebi can somehow save them.
She had been through so many intense problems in her career and in her life and in her personal life that she didn't know where to turn. And this doctor, she said, had shown her how to really open up and cleanse all of the negativity out of her.
She told me she was suffering with alcoholism and that she was smoking excessively, cigarettes, drinking and smoking. She asked me, what do I need to do to stay on the side of peace? I said, fast, do what Jesus did. She said, what did Jesus do? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God. She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, you know, with the world.
Later on, Lisa started to work on a documentary about her life in which Dr. Sebi and the Usha village played a considerable part. She was constantly traveling to the Usha village in Honduras until one day, after a meeting with Dr. Sebi, she died tragically in a car crash. Many believe Lisa Lopez's death was not an accident and was the only way to stop her campaign of popularizing Dr. Sebi and his holistic healing methods. Famous rapper Nipsey Hussle was another grateful patient of Dr. Sebi. So grateful, in fact, that after Dr. Sebi's death, he wanted to fund the creation of an entire documentary about him and his healing practices.
You know, and what's crazy, I'm working on doing a documentary on the trial in 1985 when Dr. Sebi went to trial against New York.
Right.
He beat the case, and he went to federal court the next day and beat that case on record.
Yep.
And nobody talk about it.
Mysteriously, shortly after starting his work on the documentary, Nipsey Hussle was shot dead. Many people believe he was killed for trying to spread awareness of Dr. Sebi's holistic healing methods to the world. This second death of a high-profile celebrity connected to Dr. Sebi raised more and more suspicions. The attacks on Dr. Sebi started to increase, and the Attorney General's office even sent undercover agents to pretend to be patients in need of healing so they could find any irregularities with Dr. Sebi's practices. On May 28, 2016, Dr. Sebi was arrested at the airport on money laundering charges because he was carrying $37,000 in cash with him. He, his friends, family, and patients all denied the charges of money laundering. Nonetheless, Sebi was placed in prison. At that time, Dr. Sebi's company was making vast amounts of money from the healing remedies, while Sebi himself was making a lot of money from personal healing sessions. Therefore, all that was needed to set Dr. Sebi free of the charges was a document from his company proving the source of the money. His family repeatedly contacted the company to get the required documents. However, no one from the company responded to their calls or tried to help Dr. Sebi in any way. Usually, when a high-profile person like Dr. Sebi is arrested on charges like money laundering, he should quickly get a court date set up for a hearing and a bail he can pay to stay out of custody by the time of the trial. Dr. Sebi received neither, as no court date was set and no bail was allowed. He was treated as he was some vicious murderer, not a healer. All he could do was stay in the awful conditions of the prison and wait. After a couple of months, Dr. Sebi told his daughter that they were trying to poison him with the food they were giving him in prison.
There was a reporter that was there the day before his transition, which was on Saturday, August 6th of 2016. And on that Friday, there was a reporter down there, and, they reported that he was, I had spoke to him, and they reported that he was totally fine in good health that Friday, So transitioning from Friday into Saturday, no, it shouldn't have been anything that was different.
I spoke to him about 3 days before he had passed.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be able to say from that conversation that he passed from pneumonia, but I wouldn't be able to attest that he died of pneumonia. Besides, we had a confession, and so no, I don't believe that.
You had a confession?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A confession as to like how he actually died, or
as to how someone participated in his death.
What were his last words to you on that phone call when he was locked up?
I know someone's trying to kill me, so I refuse to eat the food in here. I'm not touching this food. That's why I'm fasting.
Shit.
A lot of this, I'm sorry, Mommy.
Although he was 82 years old, everyone knew he was in excellent health, and he constantly demonstrated that. However, in August 2016, authorities stated that Dr. Sebi contracted pneumonia and died in prison. Shortly after his death, the company he created from nothing, that same company that did nothing to help him, patented his name and stole his legacy. Many people, including Dr. Sebi's first wife and his oldest daughter, stated that the remedies his company started to sell are not the original healing formula. Consumers also confirmed that the recipe was altered after many of them had terrible reactions and side effects.
It's amazing that they've taken something so pure and so beautiful that saved my mother's life, and they take it and turn it into something that actually harms someone.
My grandfather's product is compromised. And when I say compromised, those are not Dr. Sebi formulas anymore. Look how many people getting side effects from those products. You don't want anything pertaining to Dr. Sebi cell food. Don't follow the fake Instagram. Don't follow that website. Those are not Dr. Sebi's formulas.
The significant threat Dr. Sebi posed to the multi-billion-dollar medical industry that relies on continued sickness and treatments by chemical and unnatural ways was over. They finally managed to silence Dr. Sebi forever and destroy his legacy. The major newspapers didn't even mention his death. How is that possible, considering Dr. Sebi proved in court that he could cure cancer, leukemia, lupus, herpes, AIDS, and all kinds of other diseases naturally, and had over 70 witnesses to confirm that? Why didn't this great man receive any notoriety? Well, if word got out that we can cure cancer with fasting, a vegetarian diet, and alkaline herbal remedies, who would pay thousands of dollars for chemotherapy and synthetic drugs? The pharmaceutical industry alone is worth $1.27 trillion US, and it increases yearly. People take pills for headaches, disrupted sleep, depression, and eventually illnesses and diseases. So imagine how big of a hit it would be for the medical industries if everyone used Dr. Sebi's methods instead of medications. As Dr. Sebi used to say, a society that keeps cures a secret so they can continue to sell medication for huge profits is not a real society, but a huge mental asylum.